Happy Wednesday, everybody. I believe that we should be live inside the community. Let me just double check that we are live. Facebook says we've been live for around about 5 seconds. So let's just see how accurate that is. Can I see myself? Yes, I can see myself. Fantastic. Okay, so what am I talking about today in the community? What am I bringing to you that I think is important to show up live to bring this information over to you? So I've titled this Organize Your Pipeline into Honeypots. What do I mean by that? And what's the importance of that as well, right? Okay, so as you are a CEO of your business, you might not see yourself as a CEO of your business, but you are, right? You are the business owner. So you are the CEO of your business. You're also the marketing owner, and you're also the sales person as well inside your business. As you are growing your business, you are going to be generating leads. Those leads are prospects. Here's what most people don't do when they prospect. They don't organize their leads into buckets. So let me give you a shared story. So many moons ago, and if you don't really know my story, I'm going to quickly share it right now, right? So many moons ago, I used to be a sales executive offline, and I had a patch that I had to sell my product into, right? I worked for a national company here in the UK, and I had a big area, and that area was my patch. Now, it was my, like, the organization, the company that I worked for, they didn't provide leads. I needed to generate my own leads, and then I needed to nurture my own leads, and then I needed to close those leads, right? That was my responsibility as a sales executive out on the road. And initially, when I first started, I would go, this was around big industrial estates in the UK, and I was actually selling fixings, like the big industrial fixings, the old big structural steel structures together, right? So I used to go around big, greasy, not greasy, but just dirty foundries, metalworks, structural companies, and I used to sell fixings. And I used to go door knocking, and I used to generate leads. And I had one book, and everything went into that book. All the leads that I prospected every day for months and months and months all went into one book. And then I went on a sales training, and somebody was started talking about pipeline and keeping your pipeline organized. And I'm like, what do they mean by organized? It's like, I have a book, it's organized. All my leads, everything is inside this book. So this one particular day, this guy says to me, so where is your hottest leads? So I brought the book. My leads are in here. And he said, no, where is your hottest leads? So I went scouring through the book, and I'm like, well, maybe they're a hot lead, and maybe they're a hot lead, and maybe they're not, but they're a hot lead for definitely. But it took me a long time to find these hot leads. And he said, look, listen, you're not organized. Your pipeline is not organized. So you need to organize your pipeline. I'm like, well, I still really don't understand what I need to do, because for me, it's all documented in a book. These are all my leads. He says, you need 3 books. You need 3 books. You need a book where potentially everybody's going to go in. And then as you nurture these people, you're going to be taking, like, people that are more receptive to you making a meeting. They're open to having a conversation with you. You're going to take those people, and you're going to put those people into a separate book. Everybody else who always ghosts you, they never want to make an appointment with you, they're making hard work, they will stay in this first book. But then other people, again, who will pick the phone up, they'll have a conversation with you, they'll invite you into their meeting room, they'll have a conversation, they'll make you a cup of tea, they'll do whatever, right? They'll buy from you to a certain degree, or they might give you a quote. These people go in this book. And I said, well, okay, well, what's this other book for? This other book is for people that's actually give you bigger quotes, and they've placed orders, right? So this is your hot. This is where you're going to get your big orders from. Then this mini book is where you're going to be transferring these people, warming these people, and putting them in this one. And then everybody else that potentially is still cold, this is in this book. He says that's how you organize your pipeline. Now, when I speak to a lot of coaches, let me know if that makes sense, right? It's logical, but it's also simple, right? It's also simple. Now, we're going back in the day when I am 51 years old, when I used to rep, I would have been mid-20s. Like, I didn't have a laptop. Everything was done old-fashioned way, pen and paper, and that's how we made sales and prospected and generated leads and nurture leads and everything. When I speak to coaches today and I ask them, okay, where's your hottest leads? Where's your warmest leads? Where's your cold leads? They have no idea. They have no idea. So that tells me straight away that their prospecting isn't organized. But it also tells me as well, they don't know where their next client is coming from. They don't know where their next sale is coming from. So I'm just going to quickly share just a diagram that I created earlier on, just to illustrate a point of what this should look like. So let me jump into this. And again, if you've got any questions around this, just let me know. If this makes total sense to you, again, let me know. Let me know. Are you organized? Is your prospect list, is it organized? Is it categorized into 3 buckets? And it's the same principle as when I used to be that sales rep, right? 3 buckets. Each book was a bucket. And I believe that this is the best thing that you can do for your business right now. I'm just going to make sure that... Hey, Jody, please, that makes sense. So, your job, right, as a coach, as a salesperson, as you are prospecting, generating leads, it's your job, and it's simple, right? There's nothing rocket science here whatsoever, but it's your job to take people from one bucket to another bucket, right? You warm them up, and there's many different ways how you would take somebody from cold to warm, and it's not hard. It's super simple. And then there's many different ways where you would take them from that warm bucket into the hot bucket. Now, what you want to do, like if I just double this guy up, right? You want to get everybody, everybody's going to be in different areas of the sales journey. And it's your sole job is just to transfer these people over here into there. And then from there to there, until you've got quite a few people over here, right? But you're consistently filling this bucket up here as well. You're always filling this bucket up, and your job each and every day is just keep transferring people over here. Now, you will deal with people, and this is where the psychology of sales comes in. You're not going to treat all these people equally, because these people are at different stages within inside this sales conversational journey. So I know for a fact that most people, it's not organized, but I know for a fact that most people, they've built up an audience of some size. And it might be scattered, it might be everywhere, it might be not be organized, but I know within inside most people's audiences, there's 6 figures in business that's being neglected because they're not organizing the prospecting, they're just not organizing the prospects. And because they're not organizing the prospects, it's like everything's just scattered and they don't know where to reach out to. They don't know how to organize it, right? They don't know where their next sale or their next client's coming from because it's not organized. You organize it. I hazard a guess that if you were to look at all of your audience that you've built up over the last couple of years, and you went through everybody, and I bet that you could put into the hot bucket around about 30 or 40 people, minimum, bare minimum. These people, they know what you do, they love you, they trust you, they like your offer. You've had conversations with them. Maybe you've had a conversation with them, right? Maybe they've scheduled a call with you, and they're here, but you've just not made an offer to them. Um, and because you've not made an offer to them, or because you've not visually seen them as though they're in your hot bucket, that they've not bought from you. But these are the people that I reckon, if you used to spend maybe 2 hours maximum, you could fill that hot bucket with 30 to 40 people, and you would generate maybe 20, 30 grand from that list. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, most people. I had a conversation this evening with a client, and we were looking at, like, where is her hot buckets. And I like to call these honeypots, because each and every one of these is a honeypot. And like, even your cold market, your cold bucket, it is still a honeypot. And this is how I segmentate my my CRM system in honeypots. So this even though it's a cold market, cold bucket, even people at this level, if you've got people at this level, right, and if you're not added value, whatever the investment is to work with you, and you add a monetary value to everybody that's inside the cold bucket list, right, that's a honeypot. And then all you need to do is just bring them people through to honeypot number 2, and then honeypot number 3. This is the best thing that you can do for your prospecting. If you've not done this, I would spend a couple of hours doing this, like today, tomorrow, and then start reaching out to the people that's in the hot bucket, and then start reaching out to people that's in the warm bucket, and warming them up even more, bringing them through to the hot bucket, and then reach out to people that's in the cold bucket, and then warm them up, bringing them through to the warm bucket. This is where your next sales are going to come from, right? That's obvious. Your next sale is coming from here. Your next sale is not coming from here. Your next sale is coming from here. But if you can't identify who's here at this level, then you're never going to make sale. Just like, let me know if that makes sense. And again, I'm just trying to keep it super simple. Jody says it makes sense, but it does make sense. It's logical. And I think if you look at my last 3 or 4 lives that I've done over this last 3 or 4 days, everything my approach to building a business, my approach to marketing, my approach to sales is very simple. It's very logical, and it's from a very logistical mindset. That's just the way that my mind works, right? And I can't overcomplicate things because my brain will not allow it to be overcomplicated. It's just keeping it simple. It's keeping it simple so I understand it, keeping it simple so other people understand it, because most people overcomplicate it. And it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It's just like, I always think, and I've always been taught, like, if an 8-year-old can understand it, then anybody can understand it. And I'm sure if I brought my 8-year-old daughter down here right now, she's dancing at the minute upstairs. If I brought her down here, she would like totally get this, because it's simple in the way that it's laid out, articulated. So, like, for most people, you have 6 figures inside your audience right now, but just because you've not organized it into these pots, into these honey pots, right, you don't know where your next client is coming from. Spend a bit of time, organize it. You'll maybe have 30, 40 people in the hot bucket list. You might have a couple hundred people in the warm bucket list. You might have a couple of thousand in the cold bucket list. It's fine. It is what it is, right? But once you understand where people sit, then it's easy to work your list. And again, I didn't finish off what I said earlier on about a client. So we spent, well, my client's done the work. I haven't done the work, but we've had big conversations about it. Is like, she's found a lot of people in a hot bucket list that she'd kind of not neglected but forgotten about. Over 1,000 people in a warm bucket list that we've now identified, and a lot of people in a cold list. And it's like, okay, before we do anything else, let's convert the people that's already in the hot bucket list first before we do anything else. And then let's reach out to the warm people that's in the warm bucket list and nurture them a little bit more. But again, the conversation is different at each level. So let me know if that makes sense. Wanted to get this over to you because, again, it's just super simple. So many people overcomplicate it. But for most people, like, this is the best next thing you can do. Instead of creating funnels, instead of driving traffic. And I always say to people, look, because people always say to me, well, I need more traffic. I need a bigger audience. Well, if you've already got 2,000 people following your Facebook and you're not converting any of those people, like, why do you need more audience? But inside that audience of 2,000 people or 3,000 people or 4,000 people that's following you, right, you've got a six-figure business right there, but you're just not organizing your list. Your connections on social media is effectively your list, and it needs organizing, because if you can't convert the people that's already following you, then what's to say that you're going to convert cold people that come into your audience, right? So start with the people that sat in your circle of influence, organize them, and then, like, even just like for those people in your hot bucket list, invite them to a call. Just directly invite them to a call, a 10-15 minute chat. See how we can help them. See what they're struggling with, right? Temperature test them. Like, find out, is this a problem that you're wanting to solve, that you need to solve today or right now? Are you just looking for information? Because if they're just looking for information, then that's cool, right? You can take them at that point. If I just exit out of this, at that point, if they're just looking for information, you can take them out of your hot list and you can just sit them back in your warm bucket. But there's going to be a handful of people that's like, no, like, I'm no longer looking for information. I'm actually looking to make this happen sooner than later. Fantastic. Can we have a conversation about what it would look like to work with me and how I can actually help you to get these results quicker and easier? Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a conversation. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that, right? Simply just use that. Listen back to this, write it down. Tomorrow, today, use that. And people will schedule calls with you and they'll want to know what your offer is. There's no complexity in that whatsoever. Okay, wanted to get that over to you. I hope you found that useful. Again, if you watch this on the replay, let me know. Underneath replay, if you've caught me live, let me know. If there's any questions around this, ask them underneath here. If you want to keep it private, jump into my DMs and ask me privately. But I'll speak to you soon.